Today, we have a very special performer for you from Hollywood. He has appeared on The Tonight Show, America's Got Talent, Let's Make a Deal, at the Comedy Store, and the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, as well as military bases around the world. Please put your hands together and welcome Perry Kurtz.
Thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for Jody, ladies. Well, it is good to be here. Welcome to my show. I will be your entertainment for a little while. My name is Perry Kurtz, so you can remember it. That's Perry as in Perry Como, Perry Mason, Perry Winkle. There's also a very famous pop singer by the name of Katy Perry. Only she's a woman. I am a man. Don't make me prove that. I proved it last week. She said, "Oh, you're Jewish." I like to watch that sink in. That's good. Worked it out. That's important. Also, on Friday, I will be celebrating. I will be 65 years old. So I'm very excited that I'm still alive. And you should be too. The bottom line is we are not old, we are older. And honestly, I'm tired of being called a senior citizen. I think we should be called vintage. Because vintage means you've been around a while, you've been knocked down, you've been fixed up, but you're still working and you have value. We have value. The country is here because of what we did. You ever see a kid these days walking down the street? It's all the same. Oh, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. You talk to a kid on the phone, it's the same thing. You say thank you. You say thank you. You say thank you to them, and they go, yeah. I said thank you. Okay. So what I do is I keep them on the phone. I keep saying thank you over and over. It drives them nuts. Thank you. What? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. No, I said thank you. You're welcome. But the bottom line is, life is all about keeping on going. We can get from A to B as long as you can see where B is from A. And that's why we're all here. I myself, as I said, I'm going to be 65 years old. I'm originally from Philadelphia. Anybody from Philadelphia? I can't really see it out there. Over there. All right. Can we bring the house lights up a little bit so I can see them? A little bit more. All right, that's good. Now, lady right there, you're from Philadelphia? Yes. Can you give me a ride home? Old joke. What part of Philadelphia?
North Philadelphia.
Oh, really? I was born in North Philadelphia. I was born on Camac Street, right by Broad. Do you know my mom, Anita? She's about this tall.
Where junior high was.
Oh, all right, yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia. Philadelphia is one of the original cities, one of the first cities. They consider themselves progressive, advanced. And yet if they're so advanced, why haven't they fixed the Liberty Bell? All these years, a little duct tape, some glue, fixed the darn thing. But no, and my mother's back there. She's 85 years old, and I think she might have dementia, I'm not sure. Do we have anybody here with dementia? I just want to know if I can repeat myself for 5 minutes. Yeah, I called my mother up, it was her birthday in June. I said, "Hi, Mom." She goes, "Who's this?" I said, "It's Perry." She goes, "Perry? I have a son named Perry." I go, "Yeah, Mom, this is your son. This is Perry." "Oh, is Perry there?" "Mom, this is Perry. This is your son." "Yeah, you said that, but where's Perry at?" I go, "Mom, this is Perry. I'm your son." "Oh, I have a brother named Victor." "You know Victor too?" So now I skipped right to the chase. I forget about that. I just go, "Did you eat today?" And she says, "Let me look in the sink." And that's something, unfortunately, we forget to do. I get busy, I get up 6 hours later, I'm sitting there, I'm shaking, I go, I forgot to eat something today. So try to remember to eat if you can. But the bottom line is, life is about going on. It's an old saying from an old movie, and I don't know what movie it is, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me. Never give up, never give up, never give up the shit. And the bottom line is, if the brain walks, the body will follow. So you got to keep your brain working. Talk to each other. Get out, move around. It's important. I travel a lot. I'm around the country a lot. And I'm celebrating. I've been married to the same woman now for 25 years in a row. I say in a row because I live in Los Angeles, and marriages last till you get out of the church if you're lucky. Anybody here ever been married? All right, well, I want you guys to know my show is really about you. I wanted the lights on because I want you to be part of my show. What will happen is I will be talking with you, not to you. So I want to start out by asking you some questions. What I want you to do, if your answer is yes, I don't want you to have to applaud or put your hand up. If your answer is yes, I want you to make a sound very popular in the Deep South. If your answer is yes, I want you to go, ee-haw! See, the women like it already because women just like to make noises. So, on the count of 3, everybody go ee-haw as hard and as long as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ee-haw! Very good. Now remember, if your answer is yes, go ee-haw. First question. How many people are seeing me today for the first time? Ee-haw! Okay. How many have never seen me before? Ee-haw! Okay, I confused some people over here. How many people are here today? Yeah. How many don't know where you are? The big one, how many really don't care? See, that's what I was looking for, okay. Can everybody see me from where you're seated? Can you see me in my jacket? Liberace's gone, but I got his jacket. I bought this in 1981 for $21. Best thing about this jacket is I can cross any street, including the freeway. I will never get run over. But as I said, I live in LA. I've been married for 25 years. I actually met my wife online in the early days of computer dating. Nowadays, computer dating is very advanced. You see a picture on the screen, and you either swipe left or swipe right. Use your finger to drag it on your phone. In the old days, back in 1990, we didn't have color. We didn't have pictures. It was so slow that when you would type a word, the letter had to build itself dot by dot. So I typed my name and it went doot, 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 doot. That was the P alone. By the time my name finished printing on the screen, my wife made a sandwich, ate it, and digested it. So we talked on the phone for 40 hours, 3 days. She came out to my house. We fell in love. Now, in those days, I was driving a motorcycle. I had moved down from San Francisco. I did not have a car, so we were out cruising around on the bike. And the bike, I had a big blue trunk on the back because I used that to go from San Francisco up to Seattle and all the way down to San Diego and out to Phoenix. So I was up there just making that circuit. So on the back of the trunk, in big white letters, I put the words, Pericycle. Are you getting it? Pericycle. People didn't always get it. There were times I'd be in traffic and people would pull up, roll down the window. Hey, what's a pericycle? It's mine. Your name's Perry? Yes, it is. What are you, a comedian? Yes, I am. And they would try to run me over. See, unfortunately, not everybody has a sense of humor. But laughter is the most important thing in our lives. You know that human beings are the only creatures on the planet that are able to laugh at themselves. You're never going to see a dog walk down the street, fall on his face, and get go, oh, sorry. We laugh at ourselves, and it's important to laugh at yourself. The body does not even know the difference between a real laugh and a fake laugh. When you laugh, your body creates endorphins, which is a chemical that helps you feel better, helps you relax, and relieves pain. So laughter actually makes you feel better. And it doesn't have to be a real laugh. If you do a fake laugh, your body doesn't know. You can trick it. You're not feeling good. You just start going, you'll feel better. So what I want to do is have a practice laugh. On the count of three, I'd like you all to put your hands up over your head, and on the count of three, I want you to laugh for 3 seconds, as hard as you can. Ready? 1. It's always the guy that's premature. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, great. See a couple people over there smiling that weren't smiling before. As I said, laughter is important. You can always laugh. Find a way to laugh every day. Laugh at yourself, and if you can't laugh at yourself, laugh at others as long as they don't catch you. I was at a center a couple of weeks ago. I said, what do you guys do for fun? Lady said, well, when the newbies run up to me and they go, where's the bathroom? I send them to the other end of the building just to watch them run away. Give you another example. If a woman falls down in a room, every man in that room will run over to lift her up. But if a man falls down, every woman in that room will point and laugh. So laugh at yourself. Now, as I said, I got married. We used to go out on my motorcycle, on the prairie cycle all the time. We got married. And after about 6 months, we were going out and we were hanging out. I was hanging out at the Comedy Store back in those days. Or Richard Pryor was there. And Arsenio Hall was getting ready to go on the air. And I ran into some of my best friends. Some of my best friends back those days were Rodney Dangerfield. I met him in 1982. And one of my best friends and a mentor, you remember Uncle Milty? I met him in 1984. The nicest man in the world. Gigantic hands. His hands, I swear they were this long. And he was so generous. Whenever he was down, he'd call me up and we'd go out to eat, usually at Canter's down the deli down there. And he'd spend $150 on food for 2 people and then tip them $100. So one time I said, can I just get really cheap food? You give me the extra money? And he looks at me and goes, you really are a Jew, aren't you? I go, Do we have any Jews here? If you're Jewish, hold up your jewelry. Any Jews? I did a show in Downey, and there were 180 people there, and I said that. And he said, any Jews? And they all went. So just for the heck of it, I said, any Germans? And they all went. So I tried to fit in. I said, well, I'm driving a German car. I have a Volkswagen, a Jew in a German car. When I first got it, I turned on the motor and went, I know nothing, and gas came out. So I was going out with my wife. We were hanging out at the Comedy Store. After about 6 months, she says, oh, why don't you come out to my house? So I drove out to her house. And I walk in, there's a guy sitting on the couch. There's a little baby girl crawling around on the floor. And there's a 5-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl in the corner playing with blocks. So of course I said, honey, who are these people? And she goes, oh, I forgot to tell you, I have children. And I'm sitting there looking at the 2 doors trying to figure out what's the fastest way out of the house. Because you know the old saying, you don't want to get involved with somebody that's got baggage. My wife owns Samsonite. But I got to know the kids, and I found out the kids did not know their fathers. So I thought I would be a good father, because I don't drink. I haven't had alcohol since '74, and I'll tell you how that changed. I got out of art school in 1972. I became an art director, and I was making pretty good money, but I was under a lot of pressure. And I went down to Atlantic City. Now, Atlantic City in those days was before the casinos. When you lived on the East Coast, Atlantic City is where you went to party. Remember the old song, Under the Boardwalk? I was one of the guys that got arrested under the boardwalk. So we would go down there, and I remember going into a bar, and I was sitting there at the bar drinking double shots of Southern Comfort, chased with a Coke, no ice. Now, Southern Comfort is very sweet and very strong. This is the stuff that killed Janis Joplin, and she was almost a man. And I have a sweet tooth. Because I have a sweet tooth, I developed diabetes, which is a whole other story. In fact, when I was 10 years old, my mother found me laying on my back in the kitchen drinking chocolate syrup straight out of the can. Yeah, I gotta get over that habit. Anyway, so I'm sitting in the bar, drinking double shots of Southern Comfort. Big cowboy trucker sits down and goes, man, I can't believe a little man like you drinking all that. Think he can drink more, little man? I looked, I said, if you're buying, I'm drinking. He bought me 6 more double shots of Southern Comfort. That's 3/4 of a bottle. Now, I'm a little guy. I'm a little under 6 feet tall. I'll tell you when it's a joke. And I just chugged it all. And he got up and left. Well, I'm sitting there, and I got woozy, and I slowly slid off the stool, and I turned into liquid mercury. And I came down on the floor, hit my face on the floor, and I'm laying there saying the same thing every drunk man says. Well, I'm really drunk. It should be easy to pick up a woman now. Why does the guys think they're sexy? Because they can mumble and drool at the same time. So I walked out of the bar. I did two things that drunk people do. I was walking, I stumbled, I went down to one knee, hit the other knee, and somehow bounced back up, turned around and watched myself do it in slow motion. Became Keanu Reeves. Whoa. Then I did the stumble against the invisible wall. You ever see drunks do this? They do that and they're fine. I went into the bar. So I'm walking around the bar, I'm trying to get women to dance with me, but they couldn't understand me because I couldn't understand me. I'm basically going, finally wound up in the corner talking to a little black girl, had her hair all teased up, and she was staring straight at me, wasn't reacting, just staring at me. And I got upset. So I walked out of the bar, walked across the street. I was standing on the end of the dock looking down at the cold Atlantic Ocean, watching the waves come up. Nobody loves me. I don't want to go on anymore. Ah! I'm gonna kill myself. Ah! That's it, I'm done. And I stepped off the dock. What I didn't see was 6 feet down, sticking out was another dock. Fell down, smashed my head on a pipe, woke up in jail the next day with a knot on my head the size of a baseball. My friend bails me out $1,000 because it was a Coast Guard dock. He told me I climbed 2 10-foot chain link fences to get to that dock. I may have been drunk, but I was determined. So we're in the car, I'm like holding my head, and he says, you were really messed up. I said, yeah, last thing I remember was talking to a little black girl. He goes, black girl? You were on your knees talking to a bar stool. So I stopped drinking in '74. At that year, I decided I'm going to change my life. All my life, people have said, you should be a comedian. You're funny. Why don't you become a comedian? So I started doing comedy, and I've never looked back. For 41 years, I've only made people laugh to make a living. I've never had a day job. I couldn't handle a day job. So 5 years ago, I decided I'm going to go out and entertain the people that are not going to come to the comedy clubs. And this is what I've been doing. And I love this job. I love to get out. I get to meet people. I get to play in nice places. It's a beautiful room. This is actually nice. How many people are still here real quick? Anybody? Just want to check. Yeah. So I'm happy I'm alive. Of course, I do go through changes like we all do. Getting older is not easy. And we're not old. We're older. Just remember that. We change, our bodies change. Remember when you were young and your body was slim and trim, and when you took a shower to wash the soap off, all you had to do was put your hands up and it would wash off? Then you hit 40 and gravity starts pulling parts down, and then to wash the soap off you have to lift things out of the way. I did that. I found a wallet under my stomach. Had 50 bucks in it, didn't even know it was there. We lose our eyesight, gotta wear bifocals, spend half our time going like this. Our hair goes gray, we lose our color. My mother's hair is still red, 85 years old, it's never changed. She says it's natural. Sure, Mom. But I'm happy I have all my hair. I have a lot of big guys tell me that I have too much hair. It's always tall guys with a little bald spot right on top. So I'm happy I got my hair. And my kids, they're getting older too. Now they're 31, 29, and 25. And 12 years ago, my wife gave me the shock of my life. See, she wanted to have more children. I did not, because back in the 60s and 70s, I was a hippie. I smoked marijuana, and they say if you do a lot of drugs, it destroys your chromosomes. And when you have a child, it's born with an extra arm and a finger growing out of its head. So I was afraid to reproduce. So my wife was on birth control. One day she takes me to bed and says, we got to talk. So I said, what did I do this time? She said, I'm pregnant. And I looked at her and said, any idea who the father is? She didn't laugh either. She said, it's you. And I said, okay. She walked out of the room and I just sat there. And I tried to adjust. And I tried to grow into this, the fact that I was going to be a father. And I watched my wife grow and grow. She gained 100 pounds. She became so round that if you pushed her sideways, she would eventually roll back to a standing position. And then 5 weeks before the baby was due, she had horrible pains and the vein on her head started popping out. Took her to the hospital. Doctor said, Mr. Kurtz, we've got 20 minutes to get the baby out of your wife or she's going to die. And I looked at her and said, can you give me 30 minutes to think about that? He said, what are you, a comedian? I went, yes, I am. He said, well, you're welcome to come in when we take the baby out. It'll be in a cesarean. So I go in there, and they got her strapped down. They got her legs up in the air, and he got her stomach cut open. He's got both hands inside her, and he's pulling parts out and dropping things